You are a convicted felon, Mr. Hoskins. You are now that until proven otherwise.
How?
Prove otherwise at all times.
Sean, enough. Stop!
Don't shoot!
The experience of us sort of writing and starring it together was it's fantastic. Anytime you get to work with a close friend of yours on something, there's an extra element to it that's just like sort of a natural intuition about each other that makes that shorthand so great. Miles and Collin, the characters that we play, are both very different from who we are, and very different sort of dynamic in the way that they get really angry at each other and they poke at each other all the time. He and I don't have that dynamic, but what is present there is this quick sort of banter humor that we got to use on set to anticipate each other's acting styles and play off of each other in a really organic way. And so the organic chemistry, I think, is the proof of like a 17-year friendship come to life on screen. So that part of it's very, very real. Our film also deals with gun ownership and violence and police violence, and it's easy to sort of silo these things as separate things, but the reality is that gentrification and gun violence and gun ownership and police violence are all happening in the same spaces, and they feed into each other. They're reactionary to each other. You know, our characters are living in the neighborhood while it's happening, and they're seeing a city that they grew up in and love become a different city for a different group of people right on top of them, and watch that, you know, they're having this eternal sunshine moment where like everything around them is getting erased and disappearing, and they're observing it in real time. What we wanted to capture was how like jarring and derailing and how violent that can feel. And so there's violent elements from the characters in our movie, but the most violent character in the movie is gentrification, is them and what that's doing to the police force and how they're treating the people that are being pushed out. And so I think because of where we're at as a society with you know what we're paying the most attention to right now, it's the gun debate, but that just leads you right back to gentrification. It leads you right back to police. These all are just an interconnected web of symptoms.
Yo, bro.
Stop! Stop! Don't stop!
The thing about David that a lot of people don't understand is like how sort of shy and uncomfortable like he is as a person. I think like he's come about his attention in a way where I think like it comes off really, really charming, but like David's really shy. He's a really shy person. And so I don't think people know that about him. I think they see him as like an extrovert because of the characters that he plays, but he's like a very sort of reserved, easygoing, quiet person most of the time. Did I get Hamilton tickets?
I've been in Paris meeting lots of different ladies. I guess I basically missed the late 80s. I travel the wide.
I moved to New York because he got that show, and we were working on so many things I had to be around him because his life got so crazy. But my way of sort of soaking up all the things that were happening with Hamilton was to just be around the theater and be around the artists of that show. I mean, to the world, it was this play, and it is this play that everyone wants to see, but in New York, it was this renaissance of artists that people didn't know about, and I think for us all in proximity to that, we just wanted to be around and in that group of people and feel the electricity that was coming off that show and the excitement. And now we're all still friends and we're excited about each other's projects, and you know, we hear about what Anthony Ramos is doing and what Oak is doing and what Javi's doing, and these people have defined this show. And Jasmine Cephas-Jones defined the show, and now we're getting to like watch what they do in the world, which is why it was so great to have Jasmine in this film. It's another part of her career post Hamilton. Spike Lee is one of the innovative geniuses of filmmaking of all time, and so any comparison to even a shadow of what Spike does is gonna like floor us and humble us. I think Spike made the movie that he needed to make at that time about that place that he loved. And we try to do the same thing with our film for the place that we love. The films speak to each other because even in the amount of time it's been between those two movies, there hasn't been a lot of change in the subject matter. And so I find it both flattering to get that comparison and also like a little sad that the conversation is still in a largely a very similar place. But I think that's why his film had to happen, and like more films like that have to happen, and our film had to happen.
Every time you come around, you monsters got me feeling like a monster in my own town.